Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Everybody, it's Jeff. Hope it's nice where you are. Been okay here. I mean, cloudy, but the sun peeks out every now and then. Funny, the last night we had a little bit of a snow shower there, but it didn't amount to much. It melted right off. But tomorrow it's supposed to be mild, I guess. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll find out. You know, the weathermen aren't always right. You know. So I got, excuse me, a couple of videos here. This first one here is from the iHip Girls, and apparently there's a talk going around that Elon Musk might be removed from his job or whatever at the at Doge or whatever, because things at Tesla have gotten so bad that the board of directors at Tesla wants his ass at work and not fucking around with Trump, because their stocks are dropping, the value of their company's dropping, and money talks, right? So when people are suffering over at the company, they're you know, that's chances are they might even vote him out of the fucking chairmanship or whatever. So who knows? But let's go to the video here, and we'll talk about that on the other side.
President Elon Musk is tanking in every shape and size imaginable. Tesla, personal approval ratings. Now we're hearing there might be a breakup between Trump and Musk. According to Politico exclusive, Trump has told his inner circle, including members of his cabinet, that Elon Musk will soon be stepping back from his current role as governing partner, ubiquitous cheerleader, and Washington hatchet man. What do you think?
I mean, I think this was destined to happen. And, you know, as much as fun as it is to bash Musk, we still have to make sure we keep the heat and bully Trump every bit as much. I think Musk was kind of fresh meat for all of us that have followed this shit show that is Trump. Musk and Trump obviously have a mutually assured destruction plan. And Musk helped to get him elected, gamed the algorithms, you know, paid for all of the $300 million into his campaign, put boots on the ground in battleground states. And the payoff was, yes, you can come into the United States government and you can stop all of these investigations into your companies, and you can reward yourself more billion-dollar contracts off the backs of hardworking Americans, because Trump, Musk, and all the oligarchs don't give a shit about the country or the people that live in it.
Absolutely. But here's what I think. I think that Trump is saying this, and I think that this in the perfect world would be what Trump would do. He would get rid of him. He is a liability. But like you, I think they have mutually assured destruction. And I think he's trying to placate the people around him, because I don't think he can get rid of Musk. I think Musk owns him. I think they're up to no good together, probably, in my opinion, in bed with Putin on all this crap. This is a man that sleeps at the White House, that has been on Air Force One and Marine One every time Trump has. I just find it hard to believe that they are going to break up because Trump is owned by Musk.
Yes, but I also think, like, Musk is a really big titty baby. Yeah. I mean, he can't take the heat. I mean, he is really struggling. He runs to Jesse Waters, Fox and Friends to air his grievances, and he's literally in the fetal position. Tim Walz was so mean to me. These people are just so cruel. You know, and then he's tripping on ketamine with his chainsaw. Trump can as much as big of a titty baby that Trump is, he can handle it. He likes it. He likes being in the middle of controversy. Musk is cracking and cracking and cracking. And I tend to think that the board of Tesla and, other companies that are on the stock exchange are going to say, you're going to have to pick. This is billions and billions of dollars of a company that we built that was a global product. And because of your involvement with this man, you're tanking it. And the board of directors would fire him. So at some point, money is going to force him to pick a side. He's either going to be Donald Trump's wife and co-president, or he's going to go back to his companies. But that board of directors white men with a bunch of money losing their money, it's going to rain hellfire down on him. I'm sure it probably already has, because as Tim Walz so brilliantly points out, the stock is all over the place.
Well, and perfect segue to this, because Canada has removed Tesla from their EV program. George M. reports Trump freaks out as Tesla got banned from Canada's EV program. $43 million frozen, future rebates blocked, billions at risk. This isn't just policy, it's a crushing blow to Elon's empire. And this came about, obviously Canadians don't like fascism, but there was a rebate corruption issue that they're looking into. Would it surprise me at all if Elon Musk was doing naughty things and corrupt? Fuck no. I think he's every bit as corrupt as Donald Trump. These are two peas in a pod.
But, here's where it's going to get interesting. So he is an untreated addict. I think that we've all witnessed it. That's a rumor, but my husband's in recovery. You're in recovery. We know how these people spin out. So this is going to be an interesting thing to see what he does. Does he try to stay into government to be punitive towards places like Canada and force everybody to drive Teslas? And a lot of Trump's tariffs on foreign cars are beneficial to Tesla because China is winning in the EV vehicle race. So it's going to be interesting. At the end of the day, I would think the board of directors, the shareholders at Tesla, there's going to be some sort of showdown, because nobody likes losing money in all of this. All of this MAGA shit is for no good reason other than sport. They like to fuck shit up and break shit for sport because they want people to beg them.
Absolutely. And the cruelty, Elon Musk likes the cruelty. There's no question about it. Okay, here's something that I found interesting. First of all, I think Cybertrucks are repulsive.
I do too.
I think they're like a physical manifestation of Elon Musk when he's on ketamine tripping. But here we have now Cybertrucks. Tesla sales are in collapse. Tesla suffered its biggest sales decline in the company's history, and sales fell 13% in the first quarter amid massive backlash against Elon Musk. Tesla reported that it delivered 50,000 fewer cars from a year ago and fell 72,000 cars short of analyst expectations, despite providing incentives such as massive price cuts and zero financing. So we hear all the time, people are trading in their Teslas. We know people personally that love their Tesla and got it several years ago that are like, I'm not driving a swastika car. I'm not doing it. And you see Cybertrucks, they're just on the lot. They can't get rid of them. So I'm with you. At some point, his board of directors has to answer to the shareholders. It's just going to be so juicy. Can you imagine? He wants domestic terrorism charges against people that protest Tesla. Can you imagine the titty baby parade he's going to have if he gets removed from the boards?
The best thing that could happen to him, and this is what happens to people of privilege, they never face rock bottom. The best thing for this guy would be to go away to some bougie ass rehab for like a year and completely get his brain chemistry back, because this is a man spiraling out in the throes of drug addiction. It's very evident. You see his eyes rolling at the inauguration and this crazy, frantic shell game, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Oh, if I can just get this USAID investigation against me done. And the two of them united is a level of just completely incompetent, diabolical morons that are ambitious about their incompetence. And it still amazes me that tens of millions of people voted for this. Elon Musk campaigned with him.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing toe touches out on the stage. I'm dark MAGA with his little hat jumping up and down. And Trump campaigned on tariffs. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. And this is like the biggest, like, most painful I told you so tour this country of people that are rational, that believe in facts, that vet their news, that understand all of the Republican myths that they're good with the economy, or if somebody's rich, they must be a genius. A lot of us understood what bullshit that is. And this is just playing out. And this Elon Musk, I mean, if I'm a MAGA person, that they hate everybody from all other countries, but this welfare queen from South Africa is their hero. I mean, there's just a level of fucked up in the brain that I'll never be able to be on the same page with them. I'm unable to twist facts in my brain to the level that they are.
Well, it's completely irrational is why.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might ask, we have all these protests weekend after weekend. People are protesting at Tesla dealerships. Well, there was a dust up because people were defending Elon Musk and Tesla. So I asked myself, who would be defending Elon Musk after he's doing Sig Heils and made such racist statements? This weekend, the so-called Tesla Shield came out to defend Elon Musk and counter the Tesla takedown protest. Among those taking part, MAGA, Proud Boys, armed militants, and a guy dressed as Hitler. These are white supremacy groups that are defending Elon Musk because he is a white supremacist. Why is this not breaking through? Elon Musk is doing Sig Heils.
Pumps, I have to tell you, tens of millions of people are on board with this. They saw January 6th. I would rather see those guys dressed as Hitler, because I know exactly who they are, than the morally duplicitous, silent triple Trumpers. They are the real cancer in this country. The people that like to play it both ways. In polite circles, they act like, oh, I know Trump's crazy, his tweets, but then they're at home freebasing Fox News, taking hits off of Truth Social. They like it. I would rather see somebody outwardly be a racist than all of the covert, morally duplicitous racists that we live around all the time. To me, they're grosser than these people.
Well, I can't argue with that. One thing that we've seen is Elon Musk running to a safe space, Fox News. Well, Jessica Turlov, who is on Fox News, she asked him a very hard question. And his answer was just obscene, and I laughed out loud, so I wanted to share it.
To talk to you about what Doge has been doing. So you've been making cuts to a lot of the agencies that have open investigations and regulatory battles with your companies. At the same time, you continue to get billions in government contracts. Tesla gets billions in subsidies. How do you explain that to the American people?
Well, everything that Doge does is an open book.
That is a lie. That is a lie. Everything that Doge does, they've said, oh, we have all these cuts. There are no cuts. All these fraud claims. Oh, we've discovered all this fraud. Where are the prosecutions? We found all this money. He's saying, oh, we're going to rebate it to the American people. Where are they? They're not there because they don't exist, because he shut down investigations into himself and is enriching himself every single day. It's disgusting.
All I have to say is every time I hear him speak, we know he's lying and he's full of shit. But I'm always somewhat mystified by the fact that he sounds like he's speaking English as though it were his second language. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
And I believe it's his mother tongue. I know that people in South Africa, I believe it's called like Afrikaans or something like that. But I've heard his mother speak, and I believe that English is his first language and his mother tongue. But when he speaks, I don't know if it's the ketamine or what it is, but he sounds like English is his second language.
Yeah,
the pauses and reaching for words. And, in this, of course, he doesn't answer her question. And, and she deserves a profile in courage, because at least that these people that sit around and freebase Fox, but when they're in certain crowds act like they wouldn't watch it. At least they hear one rational person. And kudos to every Democrat that goes on Fox, because Pete Buttigieg was one of the first that did it. Now I've seen a bunch of others are doing it. And I think it's a really good place for people to go to at least try, possibly try to exact some critical thinking from these fucking morally bankrupt morons.
Well, I can't imagine going into her workspace. Stick with us for more news. We'll be watching the breakup news and all of the other fuckery associated with Elon Musk.
Subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 1 million subs, and we'll see you all later.
I think I had said, well, maybe in January, I think, in a video, that I don't predict that Trump and Musk are going to stay teamed up together for very long, because these both these guys have fucking egos, okay, that you know, it's just, you know, this pissing contest that the two of these two guys are going to have, only one can come out on top. All right. And Musk is quickly becoming a liability for Trump in ways that really is dragging down his administration. But at the same time, Trump created this problem by putting Musk in charge of Doge. Okay. And so, I mean, it's like the chicken and the egg kind of thing, right? It was doomed to fail. And, you know, Elon's attention is divided, where his company's suffering and he's not there. You know, he's spending all his time on Fox News and, you know, doing shit with Trump. And Trump, well, he's kind of out to lunch these days, out golfing, while things are happening all over the country. Yesterday and the day before, you know, these massive protests that you know, our country has not seen in a long time. That has to weigh on the administration. And I'm sure that Trump doesn't, you know, he's obviously not happy about it, because otherwise, why did he take off, right? You know, he's just out golfing. He don't care. You know, which goes to, you know, a trope that, you know, my father would always say to me, you know, about, you know, never elect Republicans because they ruin the economy. You know, he always said that to me. And he says, you know, and don't believe anything they say about economic policies, especially, you know, in this case where it deals with tariffs, okay, because it's going to be wrong. I mean, you know, because every time, you know, in history, whenever Republicans were fucking around with tariffs, they caused a market crash of some kind. They ruined the economy with that stuff. So unless those things are applied smartly, they don't really do what Republicans think they should do. So, being an idiot that Trump is, you know, and plus he ain't got a very good track record of running anything right, you know, how our country could actually fall for this soothsayer or whatever you want to call him, you know, because all he does is go around telling people, oh, things will get better, and then he never does. Nothing ever does. It just keeps getting worse, you know. But, you know, Rand Paul had said this week, you know, it says, you know, let Trump keep twisting the knife in the back of the country he hates so much, because eventually it's going to turn on him, you know, and that's what's happening. MAGA's turning on him. And you wouldn't have the numbers out there protesting if you didn't have some people from the other side of the political aisle out there protesting with them. You know what I'm saying? So I would not be surprised. I'm sure they don't make a point of telling people that they voted for Trump, but I would not be surprised if a lot of those people in those protests were Trump voters. Okay, he's pissed off a lot of his own people. Okay, so whatever MAGA thinks his popularity is right now, and that, oh, he's doing what the majority of the country want, that ship has sailed. Okay, that was like November. Here we are in April, and now the whole picture is all different now. You turn the page, in other words. It's not the same. if we were to have our presidential election now, Trump would lose and lose big. He would. He would lose big because he certainly ain't got the same support that he did before. And people are so goddamn mad right now at Trump that, you know, hey, he may not be able to walk around anywhere in this country, you know, safely. You know how some people are. I mean, you remember January 6th people. I mean, how many people were there that did what they did? Those were all potential people that could be out there now waiting for him. Okay, to take their revenge on him. All right, you know, so I'm just saying, you know, this is where we are now. Snapshot of America as it is today. It's not very good for Trump. It's very bad right now. I don't, you know, and I just don't see Trump trying in any way to dig himself out of this pit, okay, except to give people a pie in the sky. Oh, have faith. It's going to get better. People don't know how to have faith in this country, okay? People like quick solutions quickly. I mean, isn't that the reason why they turned on Biden so fast? Was that, oh, things weren't improving quick enough? You know, for Americans, not understanding the severity of the situation the country was in after Trump lost to him, okay? They expected things to basically reverse overnight, and it took time. It took a lot of work. You know, Biden had to invest a lot in our own country in order to prop up the economy, to get it going, to keep it going, okay? And now you got people out there criticizing that. And that's kind of why, you know, Trump won his second bidding as president, is because the right wing kept hammering Biden on, oh, it wasn't done fast enough, or he failed at this one, when he'd done more goddamn successful things that they wouldn't even talk about, okay? All they wanted to do was shit on him. And after 4 years of that bad messaging, Trump got his ass back in there, okay? But you see, it's only in the aftermath do we realize that we had it better with Biden. It's only now that people look back and say things weren't so bad after all, were they? Okay? But things are going to get worse. Worse more than ever before. And it's only going to be through that where people are going to smarten up and do the right thing. Like I always say, people have to do the wrong thing first before they do the right thing. Why is that? I don't know. You know, people laugh when I ask, why do people always got to learn things the hard way? Why? Do you know how much waste there is in that? And instead of just knowing that going down that road is going to lead to disaster, and take this path, don't take the path that leads to the pit. Take the other road that doesn't. No, we got to go to the pit. We have to fall into the pit before we realize that was the wrong way to go. Even though everybody had already seen the pit, they still they kept us going towards it. And, you know, Tim Walz, he's been hammering on, Trump and Musk, rightly so, because, hey, like me, you know, I got questions as to, you know, what the hell is up with these two? Okay, Musk is letting his company fall to pieces. Trump is letting this country fall to pieces. And at the same time, both of these men here are sitting here trying to sell us a bit of goods here that aren't going to come. It's even making the rich in this country concerned, okay? Because when you tank the value of the dollar to its lowest as it can be, then the wealthy aren't really as wealthy as they were, because their money won't buy as much as it used to. They're not going to like that, right? It's easier to get results when you're trying to destroy something than it is to try to make it stronger. Okay? That's why these things are happening so fast. I know there's been talk out there that, the Democrats are up to something. They're deliberately trying to just tank the economy. No. Again, you can't blame the Democrats because they control zero. Okay? All the Republicans control everything right now. And what Trump has been doing has been coming out of his own executive orders. Okay? No Democrat is signing the papers. Okay? So forget about that theory. It doesn't work. And since, Musk's board of directors answers to their stockholders, right? Hey, these people have been losing money for months now. Ever since Musk went out there and did those fucking sea tiles and all that shit, and started, saying things that were really kind of rotten. I mean, now it's like, what if Ronald McDonald raped a kid? Okay, don't you think that would affect the company at large? I mean, that your mascot isn't, Musk is the mascot of fucking Tesla, and he's out there doing this shit. It's gonna reflect bad. It's inevitable. So, like I said, I think, the possibility is there that, the board members will simply vote him out, okay, and install a new head, because they just don't want their name attached to him anymore. Canada has banned Tesla from their country. They'll be buying their EVs from China, which I'm sure is good news for China. All right, since they are ahead of the rest of the world on EV program. So it's just, this is lost opportunity for the United States. You see, if we had gone a different way, we might still be able to have an EV program in this country that, we could compete with China against. All right, but since, we have Musk, and Musk pretty much tanked his own company with his own fucking actions, that's gone, and no country on the planet really wants to do business with him, because of what he symbolizes now. He's tainted his own fucking name. For personally, anyone with the last name Musk, to me, wasn't very confident that the guy was actually, a positive thing. Okay, sorry if if there's people out there with that last name, but it just seemed to me like the, Musk, who that, never knew anybody before that with that name. Just like I never knew anybody named Trump. Okay, until we were introduced to Dingbat, years back. But those are two names now that people are just going to despise. It's like George Bush, Bush's last name. People don't even like that name now because of what that represented. So a person can ruin a name, a family name, real easy. And these three people here have done pretty bad there with their names. So it has implications. It has a stigma that gets stapled to it, and it creates problems. If you're ahead of something, a company, a country, even just a club, and you do something stupid, or you say something stupid, you know what I'm saying? It will reflect on all those people that belong to it, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. That's why we don't like Trump so much, because he's got the whole world hating Americans now. And a lot of us don't deserve it. Okay? Those of us who didn't support Trump at all, we don't deserve to be looked at as pariahs of the world, but that's what we're being looked at because, hey, it's easy to just generalize. We do this all the time. Even, when we're at war with another country, anybody in the United States that has any kind of connection to populations in other countries we're at war with, they've suddenly become the enemy here too. So we're big at doing the same thing. But it also happens in other countries. Now they don't like the United States because of Trump. Now we're all clones of Trump. You see what I'm saying? It's not a very comfortable position to be in. It's not fair. There are millions of us who do not like Trump and are out there protesting against him. So that's proof that we're not happy with this guy. But there, at the other hand, yeah, there are some people that do like Trump, no matter what he's done, and they still want him in there. I mean, okay, so yeah, we don't like those Americans either, so we have an image problem here where I think it was laid out before, and I think it was Joe Biden that had mentioned this, that said that America is at a crossroads where we're trying to determine what kind of America we want to be as we go through this century. And I think we've come to the point where we're fighting with ourselves as to what kind of America we want to go on forward, either in a totalitarian kind of thing or a democracy kind of thing. Okay, but now the struggle is out on the streets. Okay, we went to the ballots, and it went one way, and we're not happy with that, so we're taking the fight up again. So we got to do this thing until it comes to a resolution. We have to fight for what we want. Okay, and if the we happens to be the majority, the other side is going to have to live with it, how it comes, you know what I'm saying, until things are better. You know, maybe it's just that there is no such thing as a person who can be trusted with that kind of power that Trump wants to wield here. History's shown that kind of authority seems to always end up in the wrong hands, because anyone who wants that kind of power is obviously maniacal or some damn, you know, there's something wrong with them mentally. They want to dominate the whole fucking world, and they never seem to have enough power. But people who are willing to accept limited power, you know, like in a democracy, and are not the kinds that would abuse it, okay, those are the folks that are, you know, more set to be leaders that will do positive things. But Trump was never meant to do anything positive for us, okay, because his personality won't allow it. He's all about himself. I mean, and if you think you can convince him to do good for us, you're going to have a long, long time trying to turn that head around. He's an old man, and he's set in his fucking ways. There's no chance of that. Okay? There's no chance of that. He's gone. Mentally, he's gone. Any hope of trying to rehabilitate him and whatever problems he's dealing with right now, that's out the window. Okay? He'll spend his money on things, but he'll never spend it on himself to try to help better himself mentally. So that's where we are. So our country is still, even though we had our election and it went to Trump, we're not done fighting this out yet. We're not done fighting out where we want to go as a country. This is going to be a fight that's prolonged, and it might go on for years after this. Okay, but we're not, you know, such a fundamental change in a government is not something that can be done like that. Okay. I mean, let's take, for example, Russia. I mean, the Soviet Union. When it fell, okay, things changed a little bit, but look where they are now. Right back to where they were, essentially. You know, it's you might as well be the Soviet Union all over again. So you see, sometimes a change can't be everlasting unless it's really impactful, unless the change really means something to people. Okay, certainly putting Putin in there as president was only tempting fate, because this was an old school Soviet KGB clown. What do you think he's going to turn that country into after that? Okay, so you know, when you decide to take a path to change, then that means everything that was of the old path has to go away. You know, you can't look at them as, you know, possibilities. It's not there. They cannot be allowed back into the fray again. And that's where we're at. We are at this point where we are fighting this fight still for what kind of America we want to be. So we're not done yet. The election was one part of the fight. Now we're going into the second part of this fight. So let's go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Roxy Sugar, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
This is the Trump store inside the Trump Hotel, and my question is, how many things inside of here are made in America? The classic Make America Great Again hat, made in the USA. USA sticker and USA on the shirt. USA, 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 USA. Ooh, look at that bomber jacket. China.
Comes from China.
Now the mugs are where things got interesting. This mug says designed in Oregon, but made in
China.
What about the classic Stanley Cup? Made in China, designed in Oregon. Now this bottom shelf, I don't know what to think about it. This mug says designed in Oregon, but I don't see where it's made. So on this one, I took the price tag sticker off the bottle and there it is, made in China. There's no way the sticker is strategically placed over the made in China part, right? Let's take a look at all of them. Made in China covered, another made in China covered. This white one, made in China covered. Every single one of them had made in China covered, but designed in Oregon open. Are these intentionally covered? Just for fun, I changed the sticker on this one to be over the designed in Oregon part. At least one of them won't keep someone guessing. Not everything was either China or USA. This Las Vegas hat was made in Bangladesh, and this women's golf hat was made in Vietnam. Around 50% of the items in the store were made in America. That's my best guess. And I guess we'll never really know if the made in China was intentionally covered.
To have the sitting Attorney General go on, and I'm gonna call it faux news. I know some of y'all love it, but it's fake to me. To have her go on Fox News and to then decide that she wanted to send a threat to me.
This is domestic terrorism. And Maria, now you have this Congresswoman Crockett who is calling for attacks on Elon Musk on her birthday. Let's take him out on my birthday, she says. And yet she turns and says, oh, I'm not calling for violence. Well, she is an elected public official. And so she needs to tread very carefully because nothing will happen to Elon Musk. And we're going to fight to protect all of the Tesla owners throughout this country, and it's this basic safety. Once again, domestic terrorism is going to come to a stop in our country.
It was wrong, because here it is. She is the highest law enforcement agent in this country, and people are watching and they are consuming this information and they are believing that simply because I decided that I wanted to exercise my right to free speech, which I am not abridged from doing, that she then wanted to then politicize something that should not be politicized. I don't like Elon Musk. I'm gonna say it 50,000 times. I don't like him. I don't like that he going out there and he firing people. I think that he's a crook because somehow the rest of us can't sit around and get whatever federal contracts we want. The rest of us can't sit around and get law enforcement and get them somehow ordained as federal law enforcement to protect him. The rest of us can't get our dealerships protected by the federal government. That is somebody that is operating above the law. For whatever reason, just because he has a lot of money, more money than everybody else. And yes, I am happy to see that on my birthday, which is what I said, there were peaceful protests around this world against him because he is a problem. And so you never should have somebody that is sitting that high and is going to sit up here and threaten a sitting member of Congress when she knew good and well, if she watched the entire thing, that I specifically told protesters to make sure you consult with lawyers, just like I've told protesters over and over and over in the history of me advising people to go out and exercise their constitutional right. The fact that there are other sitting members that have received letters of threat from this new DOJ tells me that they are about retribution and they are not about following the law. The reason that our party, or I won't even say our party, our country is torn apart is because we can't even agree on right versus wrong. This should not be left versus right. The only thing that we're asking is that we have law enforcement that will show up when there is an actual crime. If somebody calls and says, hey, I need you to investigate this cyber crime, or I need you to investigate this child pornography, or I need you to investigate this robbery, then we want somebody to show up, and we don't want them to look at us and act as if just because I'm black or because I'm woman that I am not worthy of having that case investigated, because we have an administration that is continuously railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or we don't need people that show up that feel like diversity should not be valued. That is why we should have somebody that may show up and looks like me. The final thing that I'll say, because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm going to walk in with a level of rapport and understanding then maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job, and I worked my butt off, and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me, and that is what it looks like to serve.
Feeling my husband with 8 inches was like reliving our first time. Thanks to the salt trick, he makes me gush like a broken pipe. And just last month, I was ready to divorce my husband. But then he showed me his new 8-inch magic wand. Now, I can barely hold it in my hand. This salt trick is hands down the biggest advantage any man can have heading into 2025. I wasn't kidding when I said you should take it easy with this trick. It can turn a sad little twig into a raging anaconda. It's ridiculously simple. And it's heartbreaking to see so many men missing out on the chance to finally make their women happy. So far, this easy homemade trick has helped over 29,000 men naturally increase both size and thickness. This is the same secret top-paid adult film actors use to keep their bats way above average. It's also how they manage to handle 3, 4, or even 5 women in a row without losing their stamina. The best part? It works for men of all ages, takes just 30 seconds before bed, and can give you some incredible results in no time. If you want to skip the details and go straight to the video, just click the Watch Now button below to learn how to pull off this simple but powerful trick tonight. You should probably watch it alone, if you know what I mean. Don't waste any more time. Watch it before it gets taken down or you can't find this video anymore. Your wife or girlfriend will thank you for the rest of her life.
Holy fuck.
Were you just checking out her ass?
No, I wasn't.
You know what? Fuck this.
Wait, babe, calm down. Oh my god. Mary! I am sorry!
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
welcome back, everybody. All right, so this second video is from Ben Weisalis, and he's talking about how, you know, Trump is out playing golf while the world erupts in goddamn protests. You know, the people, the sycophants around him are, you know, basically doing all they can to pump out the water that's sinking their ship. Okay, so let's go to this video here, and then we'll talk about that on the other side.
Donald Trump was once again golfing all day yesterday, and through a spokesperson, he leaked that he does not give an F about even trying to make appearances, that he cares about anything. That's one of the things that leaked out. We get it, Donald. Also, Donald Trump's press secretary, chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, taking selfies like this with her $4,800 Louis Vuitton bag. It must be nice, Caroline Leavitt, as you and the Trump regime just literally mocks we the people. But the past 24 hours saw some of the biggest protests in the history of the United States of America. The hands-off protests were absolutely stunning in scale, scope, and size here in the United States and abroad. In an hour and a half, I'm going to post another video where I'm just going to devote it to all of the protests, highlight all of them. But let me show you, while Donald Trump was golfing, what it looked like in Chicago. Play this clip. Powerful stuff there. And let me show you also what it looked like in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Stand up, rise up. Here it is right here. Powerful stuff right there. And as you know, the Midas Touch Network was broadcasting all of it here on our YouTube and across all of our social media platforms. We take the responsibility and trust you've placed in us very seriously. We know how important it is that since we now are about to have 5 million subscribers and we're the most viewed news YouTube channel in the world, it is critical that we cover what corporate news refuses to cover: the protests. And they will continue to grow as we head into democracy summer. It's already here early. Let's take a look at what the White House was also talking about in the past 24 hours. This is real. This was a real press release issued by the White House. Seriously, the president won his second round matchup of the Senior Club Championship today in Jupiter, Florida, and advances to the championship round tomorrow. That is a serious press release issued by the Trump regime. Not making that up. They made that through their official, formal White House press channels. Well, Fox, state regime media, picked it up. Here's what Fox posted. This was a real story that Fox ran yesterday. Trump advances to championship round of Senior Club golf tournament days after imposing wave of tariffs. Well, at least they included the tariffs part there. As Ron Filipkowski, our editor-in-chief, says, Caligula, Nero, Kim Jong-Trump is about to win another fake championship on his own course while the economy tanks. Donald Trump from the golf course posting this. We need tariffs on China. And he's quoting someone named Gordon Chang. Donald Trump reposting this TikTok video that says Trump is purposefully crashing the market. This is what Donald Trump is actually posting. This isn't AI. It's a real post from the official account of Donald Trump saying Trump is purposely crashing the market. Then Donald Trump posts, watch Mark Levin on Trade with China tonight on Fox News. Also watch Lara Trump at 9. Her new show is doing great. Well, I tuned in so you don't have to. Let me show you what Mark Levin was saying when you tuned in so you can see this ridiculous state regime propaganda. Let's play it.
He is doing something that's never been done.
And it's actually quite exciting and invigorating. Will there be a period of difficulty? I suspect there is. But a lot of that is the layover from the Biden regime, which spend like a bunch of drunken Marxists.
Now, last night as well, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted the following photo. It's my baby boy's birthday. He's 22. I love him so much. Heart. Buy him a beer. And then it has a link to Venmo to buy her son Derek. It links to Derek's personal Venmo. And it's a photo of him, I guess younger, killing a deer. And you can send money to him on Venmo. So as Americans are losing their life savings, as our 401ks are now 201ks or 0ks at this point, as the Trump regime is destroying our life savings, destroying our retirement funds, destroying the market, destroying the economy, destroying our businesses. Donald Trump's golfing. Caroline Leavitt is chief propagandist, is frolicking with Louis Vuitton bags and taking selfies about how rich apparently she is. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is begging for money so that we can buy her son a beer for his birthday. Absolutely repulsive. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely vile. This, another headline worth talking about. Trump's family cash registers ring as financial meltdown plays out. The party was on in Florida where Donald Trump was golfing. Yay! At the Saudi-backed Live Golf Tournament at the President's Doral Resort in Florida, and a fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago, even as the markets tumbled. So the Trump regime celebrating and having the time of their lives. Talk about international news for a second. On the one hand, in Canada, you have Mark Carney, Prime Minister of Canada, saying, "We will win the trade war against the United States." Prime Minister Carney standing up very powerfully to the Trump regime. Notably, if you take a look at this from a service called Blind Spot, which is brought to you by Ground News, which I do to do my research, you see here, nobody on the right, no right-wing media is talking about Prime Minister Carney standing up to Donald Trump. You know why? Because the right wing is a bunch of snowflakes and they are not covering it at all. What's also interesting is how the right wing, though, they're not covering that story, but this is what they're bragging about as well. And again, you can see on the blind spot, like who's covering it, who's not covering it. And that's brought to you by Ground News. Ground News happens to be one of our sponsors. It says, Trump says Vietnam willing to cut tariffs on U.S. goods to zero to reach deal. And you see, that's what the right wing covers on this blind spot feature that I use. 76% right and 9% left. But do you notice why? Because it's framed as Trump says. When Trump says, that's usually an indication that it's lying. So I use blind spot when I do these videos in the morning, and I do these videos in the evening as well, because I want to know what's the strategy going on here by the right wing. And I even want to know what's other kind of news media covering. So I use blind spot. That's the feature that I just showed you. It's pretty great. It lets you burst out of your political bubble, and you get better understand how these things are being framed. I use Ground News. I think it's essential nowadays. You got to go to ground.news/MTN or scan the QR code here. We're going to give our viewers 40% off Ground News top tier Vantage plan right here, right now, which will get you unlimited access to everything I've shown you and more. The research tool that I'm literally using right now as I'm talking to you. Ground News is subscriber funded, so they don't rely on ads that could also introduce bias. Subscribing supports our channel and their independent team working to keep the media transparent. One more time, it's ground.news/MTN, ground.news/MTN. You know, notably, this is interesting. Elon Musk, as his Tesla stock is tanking, as his net worth is crashing right now, he is fighting with Peter Navarro, Donald Trump's top economic advisor. So Elon Musk made a video yesterday saying that he hopes the U.S. and Europe moved to a zero tariff situation. So after Donald Trump announced Liberation Day, which is Annihilation Day, Recession Day, Great Recession Day, Destruction Day, Elon Musk is making videos now saying he wants to see zero tariffs. Here, play this clip.
And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. That would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
And also Elon Musk is attacking Peter Navarro and saying Peter Navarro's never built S-word. I want to share this with you as well. Jim Cramer, who is someone who masquerades as a financial analyst on CNBC, he now believes there will be a 1987 Black Monday tomorrow, that he believes the stock market will crash tomorrow worse than it ever did before, and that he thinks that he's been played by Donald Trump and that he got suckered. You think, Jim, maybe you had a responsibility as someone in finance to know what was going to happen, the way we were warning people, but whatever. Canada warns travelers to the U.S. to expect border scrutiny, including possible phone and device searches. So there's travel warnings from other countries. Basically, don't travel to the U.S. UBS says that if Trump's reciprocal tariffs stay the way they are, inflation will shortly skyrocket to about 5%. As I mentioned earlier in the video, in about an hour and a half, that's why you got to keep checking back on this YouTube channel. The next video I'm going to load is going to be, I'm going to highlight all the protests. I'm going to go one by one. I may miss some cities, and I'm sorry if I missed your city. I really am. But I'm going to do as many cities as I can. Take a look right here. The Penguins showed up to protest a hands-off event, and they've got the photo of Donald Trump, the portrait from Colorado that Donald Trump hates, traitor-in-chief. The Penguins are pissed. You've got this one, pretend we're Melania, hands off. So you had incredible signs. Again, I'm going to highlight that soon. Let me share this with you as well. Cory Booker, Senator Booker. I think I'm going to be interviewing Senator Booker soon, and I look forward to sharing that with you. Senator Booker gave an incredible town hall yesterday. Let me share with you what he said. Play this clip.
Some people might say, oh, they disappeared that person, but they're not an American citizen. Well, if there's no due process, how do you know they're not an American citizen? If they have the right to take somebody off of our streets, throw them on the plane because they don't like their tattoo, and end them up in one of the worst jails on the planet Earth without any due process, where they've already admitted that they've made mistakes, that's not our country. This is a cancer on the soul of our nation, and we have got to say no. There is a way to do this in a bipartisan manner to create more strength and safety and security, but to create an immigration system that serves our economy and upholds our values. That's what I stand for. That's what I'll fight for. Thank you.
Take a look right here. You'll see the crowd in Boston from this Boston Globe article about my friends from the Dropkick Murphys. It's been such an honor for me to become friends with Ken Casey, the lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys. They've always been on the side of workers since since the band started in the mid-1990s. And this is what he says. This is what music is for. You use it to protest. That's what we're here for. We're going to be highlighting the Dropkick Murphys performance in front of 100,000 people in Boston. I can't wait to show you that. Other headlines worth mentioning as well. Farmers are bracing for significant losses in the new trade war. From Bloomberg, Wall Street gets rude shock as Bessent plays second fiddle on tariffs. Meanwhile, on Saturday, as traders and executives across Wall Street and corporate America were still reeling from the market mayhem, White House aides issued an announcement. Trump had won the second round of the Senior Golf Championship at his Jupiter Golf Club. You don't get more demented and deranged than that. Midas Mighty. The people are rising up. I saw lots of you also in the Midas Mighty gear that we have at store.midastouch.com. Saw a lot of the gear at the protest, which was super cool as well. Check out MidasPlus.com, another area where we cover the protests. MidasPlus.com, just spell it correctly. MeidasPlus.com. And then next week, my brothers and I are going to be on Patreon, where we're going to do a Zoom meeting with our patrons. So there you go to patreon.com/MidasTouch if you want to meet me and my brothers. I'm so proud of you all. You really showed the world that America is not going to take it. Hands up, hands off, elbows up. We're in this together. Americans are rising up. You have the power. You have the power. And it's people like you who are going to stop this authoritarian regime. We're all going to look back together at this moment when we said hands off, when we went elbows up, when we resisted. Stay strong. We're in this together. We love you. We're grateful for you. I'll see you soon on the next video.
Yeah, I like how Mark Levin, takes a shot at Biden. Says, his administration was spending money like a drunken Marxist, okay? I mean, this is the kind of rhetoric that went on for the last 4 years, okay, that cost Biden his popularity. And even though, he can sum up all of Biden's years as president in just a sentence, that's really more that you would see on a car like a bumper sticker. He's leaving out a whole lot of shit there, okay? A whole lot of stuff. Okay, and after you've been familiarized as to what Biden has accomplished, that statement, spent like a drunken Marxist, makes absolutely no fucking sense. Okay, there's nothing about what he said there that makes any sense. Okay, and here I got some stuff here that to kind of refresh people's memory, because I know it's short when it comes to politics. He ended the COVID-19 pandemic. He mobilized 90,000 vaccination locations, stood up dozens of federally run mass vaccination sites, and deployed over 9,000 federal personnel to support vaccinations nationwide. He got relief through the American Rescue Plan. He invested about $160 billion to provide supplies, emergency response, testing, and public health workforce to stop the spread of COVID. He provided critical relief to more than 15,000 school districts to reopen safely and support student well-being and academic recovery. He provided expansion on the child tax credit, leading to the lowest child poverty rate in American history in 2021. Created the first ever summer nutrition benefit, helping families of 30 million children nationwide who rely on free and reduced price school meals afford food over the summer. He delivered historic investments to help over 225,000 child care programs to remain open, lowering costs for millions of families and helping speed the return to work of hundreds of thousands of mothers. He provided fiscal relief to every state and territory and 30,000 cities and towns, enabling critical investments in housing, workforce, public safety, and water and high-speed internet infrastructure. He delivered more than $28 billion in emergency relief to help keep 100,000 restaurants and other food and beverage businesses open during the pandemic. He powered a small business recovery and eventually a boom, including through a historic investment in the state small business credit initiative to catalyze Tens of billions of dollars in private investment and new small business financing and support for up to 100,000 small businesses over the next 10 years. He grew the economy and lowered costs. The economy added he added 16.6 million jobs, and gross domestic product grew 12.6%. The Biden administration is the only administration in history to have created jobs every single month. Think about that, every single month. And all this from investing into the country. This wasn't spending like a drunken Marxist, okay? Because a Marxist only spends money to benefit themselves, okay? And that's what Marxists do, okay? But Biden was spending money, investing in this country to get returns, okay? Whenever you invest in America, you always get back tenfold. We say that about education. You know, the creation of the GI Bill put a lot of people through college after they got out of the service, and what did they do? They went into industry, working, okay? And that created a boom in our economy during the 50s. All right, you think about that. That was, yeah, that's government money, but that was investing into the country to get back more. The strong labor market led to better pay and working conditions after tax incomes increased by nearly $4,000, accounting for inflation, and real wages grew most quickly for low-wage workers. This is the strongest recovery for real wage growth in 50 years. The wealth adjusted for inflation rose a record 37% for the median American household. Americans filed a record 21 million new small business applications, the most in any presidential administration in history. This small business growth was particularly strong among Black and Latino small business owners, with Black business ownership doubling since 2019 and hitting a 30-year high for Latino families. While this economic recovery was historic, President Biden and Vice President Harris believed the country could not just go back to the economy that it had before the pandemic. Rather, they believed the country needed a fundamental break from the trickle-down economics that had left so many families vulnerable and so many communities hollowed out. Instead, they set off to grow the economy from the middle out and the bottom up. President Biden's Investing in America agenda, the American Rescue Plan, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act is making smart public investments all across the country to catalyze additional private sector investments, increasing growth and American economic competitiveness. To date, President Biden's Investing in America agenda had helped attract over $1 trillion in announced private sector investments in clean energy and manufacturing, and created over 1.6 million construction and manufacturing jobs. Okay? No small thing. Drunken Marxist, you say? On November the 15th, 2021, Biden signed the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, a once-in-a-generation investment in America's infrastructure and competitiveness. Since then, the Biden-Harris administration has broken ground on projects to rebuild our roads and bridges, upgrade transit and rail, modernize ports and airports, deliver clean and safe water, clean up legacy pollution, expand access to high-speed internet, lower energy costs, and build a clean energy economy. President Biden delivered an infrastructure decade that is unlocking access to economic opportunity, creating good-paying jobs, boosting domestic manufacturing, and building the foundation for durable shared growth. The Biden-Harris administration had announced nearly $600 billion in bipartisan infrastructure law funding and launched over 72,000 specific infrastructure projects and awards. This included improvements on over 200,000 miles of roads and over 12,000 bridge repair projects, launching over 2,400 drinking water and wastewater projects across the country, replacing nearly 500,000 lead pipes, benefiting over 1.2 million people. Funding to deploy nearly 4,600 low and zero-emission American-made transit buses and over 8,900 clean school buses in over 1,300 communities across the country. Funding nearly 450 rail projects as part of the largest investment since Amtrak was created more than 50 years ago. Funding for over 1,000 port and waterway projects to strengthen supply chains. Investments in over 400 projects to modernize and expand airport terminals, over 200 of which are under construction or complete. Removing hazardous fuel material from nearly 18 million acres of land to mitigate the impact of wildfires. Okay, remember how Trump was sitting here talking about, oh, they need to go out there with a rake and do... Biden had already addressed that. Enabling over 23 million low-income households to access free or discounted high-speed internet service. Plugging nearly 9,600 orphaned oil and gas wells to address legacy pollution. Replace every lead pipe in the country was one of the goals that he wanted to do. Connect every home and small business to affordable, reliable, high-speed internet, which is something everybody would love to have. Okay? You know, improve over 350,000 miles of roads, enough to circle the globe 14 times. That's, you know, quite an achievement there. But there were, you know, the Inflation Reduction Act. Christ, I don't want to forget that. I mean, he signed that Reduction Act on August of 2022. The largest ever investment in clean energy, climate action, environmental justice. That Reduction Act is helping the United States meet its climate goals, strengthening energy security investment in America to create good-paying jobs, improving the health and resilience of communities, supporting clean air, and cutting pollution in every sector of the economy. Since he had signed that Inflation Reduction Act, the private sector had announced more than $300 billion in new clean energy manufacturing and power investments, contributing to the highest level of real manufacturing, construction, spending, and private investment on record. Since President Biden took office, companies have announced over $470 billion in new clean power manufacturing and deployment investments. Companies have announced more than 330,000 new clean energy jobs and are on track to create 1.5 million additional jobs over the next decade. This is in part due to the law's transformative new and expanded tax credits for clean energy, buildings, vehicles, fuels, and manufacturing. And Jesus Christ, the list goes on here. Where am I reading this, you ask? Go to presidency.ucsb.edu. Okay? And it's just a fact sheet. This was published in January 15th this year. Okay? So if you go to presidency.ucsb.edu, you'll see this incredibly long list of things that Trump did, and some people need to keep reminding yourself of this stuff by rereading this every now and then, not to forget, okay? Because it is important that we never forget where we were and where we are. How are we going to know that we're on the wrong track if we don't keep track of what we were on before? Things were better before under President Biden. It may not have been as perfect as many Americans would want it, okay? And it may not have happened quick enough for some people, but it did happen, okay? And because you listened too much to the other side who in some way agreed with you how you were feeling, doesn't mean that what you were hearing was the truth. You were just hearing somebody rubbing your ego to make you feel like that your opinion of things was right, and it wasn't, okay? What's that saying? Stay the course? There's a lot of truth in that. Americans today don't stay the course for much of anything these days, in case you haven't noticed. People get jobs, they jump from one job into the next job. They don't stay the course. They don't try, to put some dedication into what they're doing. No. As soon as things get a little bit too uneasy, they decide to uproot themselves and do something else. Okay, you know, and it's like, well, you know, that would be fine in times that are good. But when times are desperate, like they are now, when jobs are hard, you know, to get, good paying jobs anyway, you know, you should be thankful that you have something, and never take, you know, your job for granted, okay? Because you might jump out of the frying pan and into the fire, and you won't be able to go back to the frying pan anymore because you know, hey, that's happened too. A lot of people do that. You know, they keep jumping back and forth, and people don't like that. But you need to remember, you know, these things, these facts, okay? And you can grab facts about every goddamn president we've ever had in this country and what they accomplished. It's very easy to do that, okay? This is not something new, you know, to find this information. And it's at your fingertips. There's no excuse for not knowing these things. The phone in your hand, for Christ's sake, gets you on the internet. You can read these things at your own leisure if you choose to do so. But there's no reason to be ignorant about any of this stuff. And to let somebody like, what's his face, Mark Levin, tell you, oh, Biden spent like a drunken Marxist. He summed up all of what I just read to you as that. Okay, did that sound anything close to what he said? Of course not. All right, he's just being, you know, a fucking blabbermouth. Okay, and he was right about one thing. Trump is doing something that's never been done before. He single-handedly tanked the economy in just 3 months. I don't think any president had ever done that unless the economy was already tanked by when they got in there. But Trump has done it all by himself. He did it when it didn't have to happen. If he'd have just went into the White House and coasted along with Biden's accomplishments, he could have done 4 years and at least come out with a better record than the previous time he was president. That's all he had to do. Okay? That's all he had to do. Not change a damn thing. Just sit behind the desk for 4 years and do nothing. That's all he had to do. But no, he just couldn't do it. You know, he couldn't do it. Well, of course, he wanted to get in the White House, obviously, so he wouldn't have to go to prison there for the shit that he did. Well, he got that. So what was, you know, why go through all this other crap? It's because Project 2025 demanded it of him, okay? They supported him, gave him big fucking money with a price. You know, you do all these things. You destroy this country. All right? As long as he wins the president, what the hell does he care, right? So he was easy to convince, I would imagine, to turn his back on us since he didn't like this country in the first place, but it was easy for him. So corruption to him is normal. To try to be kind is abnormal. So he's a man who is corrupt, and it was easy to convince a corrupt man to do the wrong thing. Okay? It was just a matter of, oh, well, just support me so that I can stay out of prison. I'll be president and I'll drop all the fucking charges they got on me and everything. You know, that was the only goal he really had here. And the proof is now he's out playing golf while the whole world is out screaming his fucking name, you know, and basically, you know, itching to, you know, to pick a fight. He's out there playing golf. So that right there kind of sums up how he feels about this country. Let it burn. That's what he's thinking. Let it fucking burn. I don't care. You know, I'll just rule over the ashes. All right? He doesn't care. It doesn't matter. And so if he doesn't care about us, then why should we care about him? I mean, isn't that what these protests are saying? You don't care about us, so we don't care about you. We want you out. That what you're doing is not being a president. You're just being a total prick. That's what you're doing. You're a fucking asshole sitting in that office. You don't belong in there. You're not qualified for it. You've proven that to us already. All right? And all those sycophants that you surrounded yourself, okay, are unqualified for their jobs. So when you got a dingbat hiring other dingbats, what do you get? You get a fucking clusterfuck. Jesus Christ. It's pretty obvious. I mean, you know, that this was all going to happen, that it's all going to melt down, and you know, Trump is going to try and hide from this as best he can. You could tell he dodges the reporters, okay, and he whenever they ask him anything, he never says anything specific or anything like that. It's just deflect and project, and you know what I'm saying. That's all he does. And Musk will be out on his ear probably soon. I don't know when, but you know, as far as Musk is concerned, he adds more fire or more gas to the fire, which is Trump's dumpster. And you know, it's going to take more than canning Musk to cure this problem. Trump's going to have to do a whole lot more than just that. Because I think America's not being fooled by, you know, where the axe of blame should fall in all this. Okay? We know he got Musk in there. Okay? But we also know it's him that can get him out, and it's him ultimately at the end of the day that's got to answer for all the shit that he's done. So, you know, he can't fool anybody. That's, you know, everybody said that, you know, his presidency is going to end in absolute failure. Okay? They all been saying that if, you know, if Trump wins the presidency, it'll end in an absolute failure, and it's heading that way. Okay? The only problem is it's dragging all of us down with him. Okay? And unless we cut ourselves off from him, that's what's going to happen here. So we desperately need to sever our ties to Trump. Let him go down. Okay, let him take the idiots that are following him with him, okay? The Republican Party will suffer as well. Cut ourselves off from that dead skin, all right? That's the fat in this country that we can get rid of. And then we can move our country forward, you know, and finish off this century here, probably, hopefully, you know, on a better foot than we did when we entered it. Because frankly, you know, I don't think we deserve to continually fight the same battles every 100 years, you know, over and over again. I think we need to start to evolve here and modify our thinking. Jesus, is that too much to ask? All right, that's it for today. I hope everybody has a great upcoming week here, and subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for any health-related issues. So treat each other like a community out there, you know, come together, you know, help each other out, because we're going to be needing that kind of support out there as we move into this rest of the year, get into summer. Okay, so really, I'm serious about that. Don't think that I'm just saying words here, okay? This ain't words. I mean, these are words, but this is coming from me talking to you, what I'm seeing, what's going on out there, how we can try to survive it. And that's not such a bad thing, right? So try to understand where I'm coming from here. All right, so take care, everybody. I'll talk to you.